Good morning, children. How are you all today? Welcome back to the social session, children. Children, in the last class, for few days, we have been learning about the landlords and tenants under the Britishers and under the Nizams. We ended up with the peasant agitations and the famines in the previous class. I think you remember. So that gives us a glimpse of idea how the situation was in the rural India, the countryside, and the situation of the circumstances of the peasants and the situation of the peasants you can able to understand. And now let us move on to one of the most important topic, the nationalist movement, the Indian nationalist movement. That's so the Indian nationalistic movement is a very lengthy movement. Okay, we shall read about this in the early phase, that is from 1885 to 1918, and this is 11A. The unit is 11A, and we even have 11B. That is also the nationalist movement, but that was the final phase, or the last phase, we call it as the last phase. And remember the years, it is from 1885 to 1918, and this is from 1919 till we achieved the independence in 1947. When did we achieve independence? It's in 1947. So the last phase we discuss from 1919 to 1947. This last phase is also called as Gandhiji's phase, because Gandhiji entered into the freedom struggle in the last phase. He became a very active political activist from 1919. So this phase is also called as Gandhiji's phase. And this period from 1885 to 1918, we call it as a early phase. What is a national movement actually? Nationalist movement, what does it mean? The movement which was carried against to the British rule to make ourselves free from this foreign rule is a nationalistic movement. So this nationalistic movement in India was a very important period in the history of India, because it helped to join the diverse sections of the society into one nation. You know, India has got different kinds of people, diverse kinds of people, different climatic conditions, different cultures, different traditions, different languages. Okay, in Karnataka they speak Kannada, in Maharashtra they speak Marathi, in Telangana they speak Telugu. So different kinds of people, diverse sections of people joined together in the Indian national movement, and that proved to be it's a nation, one nation. So that feeling has come up with this nationalist movement. All these sections came together to fight, not only to fight against the British rule, but also to build a new India. Their purpose is not only to send out the Britishers from the country, but to build a modern India. So let us find out how this early phase got started. In class 7th, I think, children, we have studied about 1857 revolt. You remember? This was the 1857 revolt in which many princes, many peasants, and even the soldiers also participated in the 1857 revolt. Even the landlords and many other people also participated against the British rule. While the movement was opposed to the British, it did not have any vision for the country. That movement was against to the British rule. But after the Britishers are sent out from the country, how the country should be, who should rule the country? There was no vision for the country. They wanted to restore the old kings and kingdoms after the Britishers are sent out of the country during the 1857 revolt. In fact, they wanted to restore the old rule and the old social order. After the English education was introduced during the late 19th century in some major cities like Calcutta. Calcutta means which city it is? The present Kolkata is called as Calcutta previously. Okay. Bombay means the present Mumbai. is called as previously Bombay. Okay. Madras is nothing but the present Chennai is called as Madras. These were the major provinces actually. The entire British Empire got divided into provinces, and these are the headquarters of those provinces: Calcutta province, Madras province, and Bombay province. So a new consciousness began to develop in the people who got educated during the Britishers, because of the English education system was introduced to them. Until then it was the mother tongue. In Telangana it was the Urdu medium schools. But once the English medium and English education system was introduced, their level of thinking got increased. They happened to know what's happening around them, around the world. So the intellectuals of the time opposed the inequalities and injustices of the old social system. Social system means in society, social system in society, whatever inequalities are there, injustices are there, they started opposing the people who read. Okay, read in the sense intellectuals who has the intellect are called as intellectuals, knowledge. So these people started opposing the inequalities and injustices being committed in the society. They wanted a democratic political order, even democratic in the sense where majority of the people accept. So such kind of political order, and at the same time they wanted to point out the exploitation and social injustice caused by the British rule and fight to end it. So these intellectuals wanted to fight against the injustices and exploitation being committed by the Britishers, and they wanted to fight against them and wanted to bring an end to the British rule in the country. This was the beginning of the national movement in India. The intellectuals, they understood how these Britishers are exploiting us. Exploitation in the sense, Doch code is called as exploitation. हमारे को कैसे लूट ले रहे हो लोग. So after understanding this, they started a national movement. That was the beginning of the national movement in India. The seeds of the new consciousness were sown in the second half of the 19th century. The educated Indians, after understanding the nature of the British rule and its impact on India, they became more and more critical of the British policies. Why these policies are being implemented by the British? They started reading them. They started digging deep into it. Why the Britishers are showing lot of interest on us, and what kind of a hidden interest is present in these British policies. They became very critical of the British policies, and they began to come together to discuss the issues, and also formed early associations in 1886. The first association was formed by Dadabhai Nauroji. It was in 1866. Okay. He created an association called as East India Association. In London it was. It was not in India. He created this platform to call all the intellectuals, all the intelligent people to discuss the issues, how the British is implementing and how they wanted to exploit the country. Those issues were discussed on this platform. That association got created in first association, that was in London in 1866, that was created by Dadabhai Nauroji. He founded the association. And during 1866 to 1855, various leaders like Surendranath Banerjee, K.C. Telang, Badruddin Tyabji, M.G. Ranade, Subramanyam Iyer, they organized associations in Calcutta, Pune, Bombay, Madras to discuss the problems faced by the farmers in their provinces. If Subramanyam Iyer is there, he organized the campaigns in the Madras, that is in the Chennai province in the South India. M.G. Ranade organized in Bombay province. Likewise, Surendranath Banerjee in Kolkata province. They organized different campaigns in order to understand the problems being faced by the Indians. These associations had a nationalistic zeal. What is nationalistic zeal? A strong determination that we all are one. Even though Though many of these associations functioned for the problems in the province, but their goals were stated as the goals of the people of India, not the goals of this province. It was not stated as the goals of this province. It was stated as those are the goals of the entire country, and not even as a demands or not even as the goals of a particular community or a particular region, but they were stated as a goals of the entire country. They worked with the idea that people should be sovereign. What is sovereign, children? This is a new word we have come across. I will tell you what is sovereign. Sovereign. So, in a modern consciousness, and it is a key feature of the nationalism. Sovereignty is a key feature of the modern democratic setup. So, what does this mean? In other words, they believed that Indians should be empowered to take decisions on their own in all their affairs. There should not be any kind of a dependency on others. There should not be any force from others to make the decisions about themselves. So, about their affairs, there should not be any kind of influence from the others. That is called as sovereignty. When you can take decisions relating to your affairs on your own, then you are called as sovereign. So, this is sovereignty. Many of these intellectuals also led campaign. Campaign means prachar, publicity. Many of these intellectuals also led many campaigns against to the British policies on taxes on textiles, on racial discrimination, because they have suppressed the Indians like anything. White people were treated one side. Even in the 1857 revolt, we have studied in class 7. These British soldiers were paid high salaries, whereas the Indian soldiers were paid less salaries. That is racial discrimination, color discrimination. There were many repressive laws. Repressive means which used to be suppressing our freedom. There were repressive laws on the Indian newspaper because they were writing against to the Britishers. They realized the importance of discussing the policies of the government and organizing campaigns to change them. So, in order to make all these things, they need a common platform actually, because different people were organizing different campaigns in different parts of the country. In Calcutta, it is Surendranath Banerjee. In Bombay, it is M.G. Ranade. In Madras, it is Subramaniam Iyer. But there was no national level platform where they can discuss about the goals of India as a nation. So, it got established in the year 1885 actually in the form of a Congress. So, in the next class, children, we shall learn about the establishment of Congress and how slowly it emerged as a political party. Thank you, children.